e.l.f. Cosmetics went from selling $1 products at drugstores in 2004 to having nearly a $4 billion market capitalization, which is one way to measure how much a company is worth. But the 2-decade journey to success wasn't easy, and it obviously didn't happen overnight. The company made a lot of big, innovative moves before it was trendy to do so. In this episode of The Devil Wears Data, we'll explore how the company got started, the struggle to become so successful, the challenges ahead, and the data that defines it all. e.l.f., which stands for Eyes, Lips, Face, was started by two people who were introduced at a party by mutual friends. This was in 2002. Joseph Sharma, who goes by Joey, is one of the founders, and at the time he was only 23 years old and a business student at New York University. Scott Vincent Borba was in his early 30s and had already worked in the beauty industry launching hard candy cosmetics. The idea came to them when they saw women driving around Los Angeles in expensive cars like BMWs and Mercedes-Benz, but they noticed that these women were buying makeup at a bargain price at the 99-cent store instead of at luxury stores. They thought, there's an idea here. Women, despite having money, still want a bargain on their cosmetics. So they started working together, along with Sharma's dad, Alan, and in the summer of 2004, e.l.f. Cosmetics was born. At the time, the company started with just 13 products, priced at around $1, making it super tempting to try. Now, since this was back in the day before smartphones and before social media was as big as it is today, it wasn't exactly easy for company founders to sell things. You couldn't just go viral on TikTok or on Instagram. It took a lot more navigating the real world. The company was only having partial success selling in stores, which included dollar stores. In one beauty blog from 2007, the authors reviewed e.l.f. Cosmetics, and they said, "Overall, we enjoyed treating ourselves to a load of goodies for so little cash, and we like getting packages in the mail. They really do have innovative, good quality products that are well packaged and pretty, so you can have fun and experiment without blowing your budget. Oh, and this certainly seems like a good partnership for Kmart. They have a long way to go before they reach Target standards, but at least they're trying." Isn't it interesting to think there was a time when Target was too out of reach to be selling e.l.f. Cosmetics? Target was only carrying a limited supply of the brand in the early days. To paint a picture of just how impressive e.l.f. Cosmetic growth has been, let me present you with some data. e.l.f. Cosmetics increased its share price by almost twice of that to its closest competitor, Maybelline. This also means that if you bought an e.l.f. Cosmetics share for around $25 a year ago, it would have been worth $73 now, meaning you would have made around $50 just by investing. This, of course, is not a financial advice channel, but I'm just putting it into context. The share price of e.l.f. Cosmetics is beating out something called the S&P 500, which measures the performance of 500 large companies listed on the stock exchange in the United States. And this year, it's expected to have a sales increase by 38 to 39%, bringing in $545 million. According to one survey, e.l.f. is Gen Z's favorite makeup brand and a top 10 favored shopping destination. So how did this small company that was only available in some stores and dollar stores go from that to being a magnificent success? Well, they did 4 big innovative things that were way ahead of their time to grow to the success that it eventually has today. Before we get into those 4 things, I did just want to make a quick note for those of you who are new here. You're listening to The Devil Wears Data, where I present the business side of brands from beauty companies to fashion companies. I do this as a hobby, so I'd love it if you could like this video and subscribe to support. It's totally free to do so. And as someone new here, I'd love your support. And don't forget to turn on post notifications so you don't miss future videos. Okay, back to e.l.f. So the first big thing that the company did is it started building a digital community very early. This started with an e-commerce website, meaning they sold their products online instead of just in stores. Remember, this is in the 2000s, and buying things online didn't exist in the way that it does today. So this was new for a beauty company to do at the time, and thanks to the website, e.l.f. started quickly shipping out thousands of orders. But it wasn't just a website. It was also a beauty blog and an advice column that talked about all kinds of makeup and beauty products. In 2007, YouTube beauty influencers hadn't even taken off. So this was a time when a lot of people didn't have good resources to turn to when it came to beauty advice and tips, other than glossy fashion magazines that they had to go to the store to buy or get them sent in the mail. e.l.f. stepped in and created that online community. They also included a Chat Now button that let people connect directly with the company's professional makeup artists. This is before a lot of companies were offering digital services on their websites. The coolest thing is that it did a lot of things that current makeup brands still don't do today. It hosted virtual makeovers where customers could try on products, create profiles, and talk to other people. You could also create a beauty profile that would recommend e.l.f. products according to your skin type, hair, and eye color. Back then, the online makeup market wasn't as crowded as it is today. They got there early. One paper from 2011, which analyzed e.l.f. Cosmetics and its marketing, says the beauty network played a really important role in building trust with e.l.f.'s customers, because at the time, a lot of beauty companies weren't creating that sort of relationship with people. In a 2016 filing to the U.S. federal government, e.l.f. Cosmetics outlines that they have a really loyal customer following as illustrated by repeat purchase rates, which are among the highest in the industry. 58% of our consumers purchase one or more additional products within 12 months of initial purchase. Increasing brand awareness is a major growth driver for our company, as it has historically led to strong trial and high repeat purchase rate. Till this day, they focus on building that community. e.l.f. Beauty Squad loyalty program grew 25% to 3.5 million members this year. Okay, let's move on to point 2, which is super interesting. Low-cost marketing and entertainment. The company takes pride in spending very little money to market its products when reaching customers like you. In 2007, the company began to invest in email marketing, which was a low-cost way of spreading the word about their products, versus doing giant ads on billboards or on TV. Another low-cost thing that e.l.f. did was rely on word-of-mouth marketing, meaning friends told their friends about the product. By September 2009, e.l.f. had more than 500,000 friend referrals to their website that had come back to make a purchase of their products, meaning their low-cost form of marketing was working. Sam Altman, the former president of Y Combinator, which is one of the most prestigious startup business accelerators in the world, teaches this in a class.
Once you've got something that some people love, you can expand that to something that a lot of other people love. But if you only get ambivalence or sort of like weak enthusiasm and then try to expand that, you'll never get up to a lot of people loving it. So the advice is find a small group of users and make them really love what you're doing. One way that you know when this is working is that you'll get growth by word of mouth. If you make something people love, people will tell their friends about it. This works for consumer products and enterprise products as well. When people really love something, they tell their friends about it, and you'll see organic growth.
Till this day, e.l.f. is sort of the queen of low-cost marketing. Corey Marcia Soto, who's the chief marketing officer at e.l.f. Beauty, started on TikTok back in 2019, making e.l.f. one of the first beauty brands on the platform. She learned about it through her nephew's 16-year-old girlfriend and decided to go all in on the platform. Since its first campaign on the platform, e.l.f. has had a lot of TikTok initiatives, gaining more than 10 billion views. And e.l.f. has also become the first beauty brand on BeReal, the app that lets you only post once a day. But that doesn't mean the brand isn't doing big-scale marketing as well. According to Beauty Inc., e.l.f. has increased its marketing spending money from 7% of their revenue in 2019 to 16% in 2022. But it's still less than many of its competitors. So yes, they do spend millions on things like brand partnerships with top influencers, an ad at the Super Bowl with Jennifer Coolidge, and partnerships with celebrities like Alicia Keys. But scrappy, low-cost marketing and word of mouth is something that the brand has relied on. In fact, Fast Company recently called e.l.f. an entertainment powerhouse instead of a beauty powerhouse because of the far reach of their content and the entertaining aspect of it. By the way, if you're liking this episode, I have a newsletter where I share all the stuff I like to read throughout the week about these sort of things. It's free to sign up, and the link is in my bio. The third thing we'll talk about is social causes. Gen Z may be young, but they're extremely passionate about social causes. And companies know this because there have been a lot of industry reports published about it. Like this one, which states that Gen Z wants brands to harness the power of their voice and influence to stand up and speak out for causes. Around 47% of them saying that companies should do this because it's the right thing to do. Millennials, who by some definition are born between 1980 and 1995, are the same way. They really value corporate social responsibility, which is a term used to describe companies that self-regulate to integrate social and environmental concerns in their business operations. One study found that 81% of millennials expect companies to make a public commitment to good corporate citizenship. e.l.f. was doing all this before younger generations were demanding it on social media. In 2010, Joey Sharma, who was the CEO at the time, won a Trailblazer Award from PETA, which is a US-based nonprofit organization that stands for People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. It's not to say that Gen X or baby boomers didn't care about these things. I mean, Legally Blonde 2, which was all about protesting against animal cruelty, came out in 2003 and it was a hit.
Animal testing for cosmetics is unjust. The cost of beauty is much too high. I can't believe I just said that.
And it's also hard to quantify exactly how much social causes have impacted the success of e.l.f. Beauty's business. But the demand for cruelty-free makeup seems to be on the rise. meaning more and more customers want this from brands. It is predicted to be a $14 billion opportunity by the year 2030, compared to $5.16 billion in 2020. Our fourth point, and probably the most controversial, is quick product innovation. In a filing to the U.S. government before the company went public in 2016, it states fast cycle innovation and validation model. This is what the company says. They say, "We believe innovation is key to our success and that we are a leader in the industry in speed and new product introductions. We have built an innovation capability that can progress a new high-quality e.l.f. product to online launch in as few as 20 weeks from concept and 27 weeks on average. In 2015, we introduced our 50 new items across lips, eyes, face, tools, kits, and skincare, and 40% of our retail sales came from products launched in the last 3 years. With 25 million visits per year and over 100,000 online reviews, e.l.f.cosmetics.com is a vehicle for redefining products and determining bestsellers. We are able to analyze sales results, reviews, and feedback through social media to provide a quick indication of a product's performance. Not only does this fast, high-output testing methodology result in leading performance in retail, it also contributes to building our consumer relationships. What this boils down to is that e.l.f. innovates on products really quickly due to a feedback loop from consumers. They'll listen to feedback, test out new products, listen to more feedback, build more products incorporating that feedback, and so on. This sort of rapid innovation isn't unique to e.l.f. In fact, when Facebook was in its early days, they had a slogan called "Move fast and break things." It sort of became a Silicon Valley-wide motto for innovation. It means acting with urgency and having a bias toward action instead of waiting to innovate. This, of course, was in the context of software when Facebook did it and not makeup. e.l.f. in that way is unique because it's one of the only beauty companies that moves that quickly with product innovation. This is how the company describes how they develop dupes of luxury products. They call it first to mass. First to mass products are inspired by trends in prestige beauty that we bring to mass market. As consumers are increasingly savvy and knowledgeable about trends in the prestige market, they look for how they can achieve on-trend looks, but at an accessible price. In the last 8 years, we have introduced over 50 new items. Examples include the e.l.f. Mineral Infused Face Primer at $6 versus a prestige primer at $36. Or the e.l.f. Baked Eyeshadow Trio at $4 versus a competitive baked eyeshadow trio at $28, and so on. Now, the reason I said this is controversial is because we see the issue with it when it comes to fast fashion and overconsumption. It's important to note that the climate impact that rapid innovation could have, considering the packaging is made up of plastic and the production could contribute to CO2 emissions. Through some research, we managed to find e.l.f. Cosmetics' climate data report for last year. It turns out they've just started to measure this stuff, so they don't even know yet where they stand on emissions over a long period of time. Based on the chart they provided, Scope 1 emissions, which are direct greenhouse gas emissions that occur from sources that are owned or controlled by an organization, is their smallest environmental footprint. But their largest environmental footprint seems to stem from Scope 3, which encompasses emissions that are not produced by a company itself, and not the result of activities from assets owned or controlled by them, but by those it's indirectly responsible for up and down its value chain. An example of this is when we buy, use, and dispose of products from suppliers. It looks like they are aware about the environmental impact that their products and fast innovation cycle has on the environment, but it doesn't look like they have a clear understanding of exactly how they might address it yet. But if you subscribe, I can keep you updated when I have more data from the company. e.l.f.'s growth, despite using these tactics, wasn't always linear. In fact, the company hit a wall in 2018 when for 6 months their growth was negative 3%. But now that they've hit their stride and have $500 million revenue outlook for this year, the company continues to innovate. Ekta Chopra, e.l.f.'s chief digital officer, said recently that generative AI is a particularly big focus for the company. This means using artificial intelligence tools for copywriting, DALL-E for visuals and images, and ChatGPT as a text generator. They're still trying to be at the forefront of their game. Here's what Tarang Amin, the CEO, said in a call to investors recently.
We're definitely seeing early signs of resonance with Gen Alpha. There's a lot of our marketing activities that frankly appeal to Gen Alpha just as much as they do to Gen Z, particularly if you look at the different platforms that we're on and the types of things that we're doing. So more to come on that, but you'll continue to see us be at the forefront on some of these new consumer demographics and introducing them to the best of beauty and making it accessible.
The company is already focusing on Gen Alpha, who were born between the years 2011 and 2025. Some of these kids aren't even born yet, and e.l.f. is thinking about them. So what makes the company so successful? It's because it's not just a makeup company. It's a social network and digital community, an entertainment company, and a rapid innovator using data for fast production. This is all on top of being both affordable and accessible to people from all social classes and ages. It'll be interesting to see how inflation and rising costs of production will impact its business. At The Devil Wears Data, we'll keep you posted on that. Subscribe so you don't miss any new videos, and I'll see you next time.